protect the First Amendment. It protects you. This is Free Thought Radio on Air America.
And we're back. I'm Dan Barker with Annie, Laurie, Gaylor, and we're talking on the phone from West Virginia with David Mills, author of Atheist Universe, the thinking person's answer to Christian fundamentalism. And David, I love what you do in here, how you debunk the Bible and how you go after intelligent design. And you have a great chapter in here on Genesis and intelligent design.
People often ask, well, can you point out even one scientific error in the Bible? And I always say you have to look no further than the first chapter of the first book of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Well, we know from science that the universe is about 13.7 billion years old, whereas the earth is slightly less than 5 billion years old, or only about one-third the age of the universe as a whole. Therefore, we can say incontrovertibly that Genesis 1:1 is scientifically disproven, because the heavens, which is to say the rest of the universe, and the earth did not come into existence in the beginning at the same time.
So there you go. And there's lots more mistakes in Genesis, aren't there?
Well, because the earth, we really know from the Bible that the earth is about 6,000 years old, don't we?
Well, that's right, and that's something that most people don't want to pay attention to or emphasize anymore. The genealogies in Genesis chapter 11 and throughout the Old Testament do a chronology from Adam to Noah, from Noah to Abraham, from Abraham to David, and then in the New Testament books of Matthew and Luke, we pick up the genealogies, contradictory genealogies, but still genealogies, from David to Jesus. And since we have a more or less fixed, quote, historical time period when Christ supposedly lived, we can reconstruct the time frame. And as Archbishop Usher did a few hundred years ago, he demonstrated that the Bible does depict an earth that is about 6,000 years old. Now, of course, the fundamentalists, well, not so much the fundamentalists because they believe that, but a lot of more liberal believers today want to ignore that, or when in Genesis we hear about the first day, the second day, the third day, they'll go through all kinds of contorted, ankle behind the ear gymnastics to explain why the word day doesn't really mean day. Day means vast eons of time.
But the genealogies go from Adam, right? So you're starting from that point.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But of course, they have all those ridiculous, preposterous ages in Genesis, too. Methuselah lived 900 years, as the song says.
Yes, Methuselah was 969. Noah lived to be over 900. And, of course, this...
Highly improbable.
I would say so.
And before healthcare even, how did they do that?
Yeah, they didn't even have dentists. Jeez.
Well, you see, sin entered the world, and after that, we didn't live so long.
Oh, geez. Sin entered the world when we had Eve, remember? Mm-hmm. She was there from the beginning. Eve was framed.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, and what your book does a great job of proving, the Bible is wrong.
Yes. It is flatly, provably wrong.
But doesn't it contain some, a metaphorical truth, let's say?
Well, if the religious believers are willing to concede that the Bible is just a collection of metaphors, stories, parables, then we, as the atheists, have won. Checkmate. Because that's what we believe, that the Bible is just a collection of stories, parables, a collection of ancient beliefs.
Some poetry.
Yes. And so we're really not far apart. If we can educate our children and society as a whole to the point where we get rid of fundamentalism, then we have won the battle. Because it seems to me that the fundamentalists are the ones who are imposing themselves upon our liberties by trying to post the Ten Commandments on public property by trying to enact these faith-based initiatives that.
But you know, we have former clergy, Episcopalian clergy, for example, who've been members of our group, who've said we should not let off the liberal religionists because they're the ones that make the Bible look plausible. They're the ones that give it a good reputation because they're not crazy.
They legitimize
and they
it.
legitimize the fundamentalists.
Absolutely. That's exactly what Sam Harris argued in his book, The End of Faith.
I mean, maybe if they were just a little bit, having a little more integrity to say, you know, we really don't believe it, then the fundamentalist movement wouldn't have been as strong in this country.
Yes, I think you're right, that it does give respectability to religious belief. And, you know, for example, Francis Collins, who was head of the Genome Project, people will listen to him. He is an eminent scientist, and not really investigate to a large degree what he truly believes. And they'll think, well, he believes it, so I think I will too. You know, it's not unreasonable. But actually, it is unreasonable. It is unreasonable. And if you follow the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, as written, this, again, is provably false.
Yeah. And if they can say that Adam and Eve are a metaphor, then we can say that God is a metaphor. The whole thing is just one huge figure of speech.
Yes, we're not supposed to literally interpret the book of Genesis, but now everything that Jesus did is to be interpreted literally. He literally walked on water. He literally filled pigs with demons.
Which wasn't very nice of him.
Well, no, and you know, imagine if you were God, if you controlled the whole universe, what would you do? You would choose to fill pigs with demons?
Or spit in somebody's eye, you know.
Yes, I mean, what an incredible wasting of omnipotence.
I agree. Well, we have been talking with David Mills, who's the author of Atheist Universe. And how can listeners get hold of your book, Atheist Universe, David?
Well, they can go to Amazon.com. If they just type in atheistuniverse.com, that will take them directly to the page on Amazon. Or you can visit my website at davidmills.net, davidmills.net, and read an excerpt and some audio files and just a little bit of everything.
And see a picture of you weightless.
Oh, yes.
What a great PR stunt you did there. He's weightless in one of these jets, I guess, holding his book up, and you can see him free of gravity. Well, thanks, David. This is really fun, finally getting to talk to you.
Well, I'm honored. Few people get to talk to their heroes, but I had that honor today, Dan.
Well, us too. That's the end of our show today. Free Thought Radio, we want to say, originates from the studio of Madison, Wisconsin's Progressive Talk, the Mike 92.1. Brian Turani is the Mike's program director. He produces and engineers our show. And our announcer is Buzz Kemper. Listen to the podcast or archives at ffrf.org/radio. Call our talkback number at 608-204-0422.
And if you want to know more about the Freedom from Religion Foundation, visit our website at ffrf.org. Ask for a sample of our paper, Free Thought Today. Thanks to David Mills, author of Atheist Universe. And join us next week for more blasphemous broadcasting.
Free Thought Radio is a production of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, ffrf.org. Irreverent views, news, music, and interviews brought to you by Laurie, Gaylor, and Dan Barker.